Day 18, the other history, Luke chapter 3. So, the obvious question is, why do we need another genealogy? A simple answer would be that Matthew and Luke had two different audiences, and so a repeat of the genealogy gave both groups the same information. This makes sense, except for the fact that there are significant differences in the two genealogies. Here they are. Luke begins with Adam, actually ends with Adam since he goes backwards, instead of starting with Abraham. Luke has more names, especially in the time frame from the fall of the kingdom to the birth of the Messiah. Luke has a different list of names from Solomon to Jeconiah. The first and last names for this period are the same, but everything in between is different. Why? There are several possibilities. The most prominent is that Matthew uses the legal line of descent, such as king to king, not necessarily the direct descent, father to oldest son. Luke, on the other hand, represents the actual line of descent by parentage, such as king to his descendant. This is complicated, but a possible explanation. There is a better concept. While the names may have meaning or value in the context of the first century, the key idea here was to establish Jesus as being of the line of David and rightful heir. This point was not lost on the Pharisees and priests of that generation. They could have debated this point to prove that they were right. Jesus was not the Messiah. But they did not use it because both genealogies represent a correct interpretation of the data and records that were meticulously cared for. You see, the Jews were very careful about their genealogies because they affected many crucial aspects of their life: property rights, right to serve in the temple, and receive a share in the offerings, and other legal rights. So, if Matthew or Luke had made an error, they would have been very quick to clarify this, and so have grounds to reject Jesus' claims and rights. None of that happened. So, both represented a clear representation of the genealogy of Jesus. Matthew looked at the fulfillment of the promise given to Abraham and then to David. The key difference in Luke's genealogy has to do with the first and last names, Jesus and Adam. Luke's genealogy was about connecting it all back to the first man, the garden, the sin, and the promise that through his offspring, God would provide a solution to the problem of sin. It shows that from the beginning, God was guiding the process and moving history towards the birth of Christ. Now, that makes this gift pretty incredible. From day one, God was preparing everything related to the day the gift would arrive, be received, and put to use. When you receive a gift, don't you wonder about the whole history of the gift? Questions like, how did they know I wanted or needed this gift? How did they prepare the gift? Put together the finances and make the purchase. How long have they been thinking about giving this gift to me? How did they know when to give me the gift? Why today and not at some other time? Sometimes the most significant gifts are not tied to special events like birthdays and holidays, etc. They come when we are not expecting them. But then we learn the history of the gift and of God, and that answers all the questions, and we understand. Luke brings that all into focus: the sin, the judgment, being driven from the garden, the promise, the selection of Abraham, Judah, David, and so on. This history brings it all into perspective, and we see that God had prepared everything so that the gift arrived at the right time by the right method. That was some plan. His gift of profound love changed us and gave us true hope.